The royals of the football world. ESPN senior writer and New York Times bestselling author Seth Wickersham has written a new book, American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, pulling back the curtain on the most powerful position in all of sports. We are so excited you're here, Seth. You're talking a lot about this powerful position. You say quarterback is a lifestyle, not just a position.
Well, and yes, and like Joe Namath, I think, made that pretty clear in the 1960s when he kind of evolved it into a different space. But I think that what makes the job so interesting is that you have to wear all of these different hats that are very unique and different than any other position in sports. I mean, I was sitting with the Hall of Famer Steve Young for the book, and I asked him, like, what are all the things you have to do as a leader of an NFL team as a quarterback? And he started rattling off all these hats you have to wear, from matinee idol to field general to amateur psychologist, you know, spokesperson for a multi-billion-dollar organization.
Right. No small feat.
Breathtaking jerk at times. And then he stopped and then kept going later in our conversation. But what I was trying to show with the book is, look, there are about 16,000 starting high school quarterbacks in America any given year, 858 in college, 32 in the NFL, 10 good ones, and 3 future Hall of Famers. And what does it take to survive that winnowing from 16,000 to 3?
That's fascinating. And I'm so excited to read your book here, Seth. And we're marching towards the NFL playoffs. So we're like 12 days away at this point. And a lot of the teams that we're seeing, they're led by those young quarterbacks that you're talking about. And I'm thinking of our friend and colleague, Mina Kimes. One of her favorites is Drake Maye of the New England Patriots here. So what is it about his background that said, okay, yeah, he's going to be a good quarterback here?
And I got lucky. When I was reporting the book, I reported on a bunch of those class of 2024 quarterbacks. And of course, that might end up being one of the greatest classes ever. So, I mean, Drake Maye is fascinating because I think that when you're with the Patriots, you're always trying to figure out, well, what were the ingredients that we had in Tom Brady, and is there anything applicable? And I think that Brady, you know, he grew up in a very loving and competitive family, and he was the youngest. And Drake Maye did the exact same thing in North Carolina. Like, 3 of his brothers, 2 of them played basketball at the University of North Carolina. His other brother was a baseball star in college, and his dad was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever at the University of North Carolina. And so, for him growing up, fighting for attention, trash talking, doing all of these things, if he was going to stand out in his family, he'd need to do, he knew what the standard was. And it was almost like if you were going to be the youngest in that family and make a claim to being one of the best athletes, you had to succeed because the consequences would be sitting at the Thanksgiving table and everyone knowing that you were the one who didn't quite make it. And so he's someone who kind of knows what pressure is. And I think that being raised in that environment has really helped him in New England.
Where everyone's a good athlete, too.
Everybody
it's not
is.
like he's the only
better
athlete
than a
in the
sibling
family.
rivalry.
Exactly
right.
Much to that same end in terms of background, preparing for future success, what have you found with some young guys who are having a lot of success with their teams, like Bo Nix with the Broncos, Caleb Williams with the Bears?
They were totally different ones. So Caleb Williams was one of the guys I focused on in the book. And I mean, he was a prodigy. And, you know, he's someone who comes out of high school, one of the top recruits in high school, wins the Heisman his first season at USC, becomes, you know, the first truly professional amateur college athlete, especially for quarterbacks. And I think that, like, what you're seeing with him is he and his parents knew that for a quarterback to be successful, no matter how much we mythologize them and think that they can overcome all kinds of deficiencies on a team, you need a structure and you need good coaching. And they were worried about whether the Bears would provide that coming into his rookie year and wondering whether to kind of do what the Elways and the Mannings did and blow up the draft and try to figure out a way to have some agency over his employer. And it took a year. But he has an innovative offensive coach in Ben Johnson, and you guys saw last night what he can do when he has the right system, because so much of quarterbacking is doing the disciplined thing that, you know, taking the easy completions where you have them, and then the other piece of it is what Caleb Williams can do, which is to be Superman, apropos, you know, find ways to make those incredible improvisational, impossible throws. And Bo Nix, I mean, he was someone who not a lot of teams liked out of college, but Sean Payton loved him out of college. There's this secret analytical formula that he kind of came up with that led him to draft Bo Nix. And I mean, quietly, he's been the most successful quarterback out of that entire class.
Absolutely. Before we let you go here, Seth, we got to talk about Monday Night Football because we got a really interesting matchup between the Los Angeles Rams visiting the Falcons here. We get a quarterback matchup in Matthew Stafford. Many people say he could be the MVP versus Kirk Cousins. What are you watching in this one?
Well, Stafford is someone I wrote about in the book also. And I mean, what's happened to quarterbacking is we like to look at like prodigies, right? And young genius. But like it's kind of become an old man game in the NFL. And you saw that, I think, with Brady and Peyton Manning especially. And Stafford is the latest iteration of that, where if you can hang on and stay with a good team and stay healthy and learn from your mistakes, quarterbacking in the NFL kind of becomes, I don't want to say easy, but it's easier than people realize. And I think that when you look at Matthew Stafford, you're looking at a guy in complete command of the offense, of his craft, of the defense. And on the other side, you have Kirk Cousins, who's kind of become a little bit of a journeyman, but he's a phenomenally successful quarterback in his own right.
Absolutely. Seth Wickersham, you yourself are a Hall of Famer, best sports writer in the country, many would say, including this one. Don't tell Ray Thompson I said that. You can catch the Rams versus the Falcons on Monday Night Football tonight, 8 Eastern, ESPN. And American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, is available in stores now.